What does this look like? Have we seen this before? Okay, so let's look at this right here. And you're probably going to want to look at this yourself as well. Now, the tricky thing about this is it's not always going to look like the picture up on the board. So you have to be able to orient yourself within what you're seeing on the microscope. Okay? So what we've seen on the board or pictures in the textbook usually looks like this flipped upside down. So you need to be able to pick out clues that are going to tell you what compartment you're looking at. Okay, so where are we looking at in the body?
Cochlea.
This is the cochlea. Okay. I'm going to try to pull this up a little bit in more detail to see if I can get you a little bit more there. Okay, that's not so bad. Do you see that it's a solid circular structure here? You see that? There's an end right here, and there's an end up here. Okay. So, if we were looking at this compartment here, what would we be looking at?
The organ of the cortis.
The organ of cortis is made up of this region right here. What is this compartment?
The cochlear duct.
The cochlear duct. And it is filled with what?
With endolymph.
Endolymph. Okay. Now, the easiest way I can tell the difference between the two other compartments is you have a really thick membrane right here and a really, really thin membrane right here. See the difference between the two?
Yeah.
Okay. The thick membrane is your basilar membrane. It's what those hair cells and support cells are going to sit on. So thick membrane is your basilar membrane, which makes this what compartment? Your solid tympani. This very, very thin membrane then is what? The vestibular membrane, which makes this compartment what? Scala vestibuli. Okay. Which is filled with what? Perilymph. And this is filled with what? And this is called what? Scala tympani. And this is called what? Basilar membrane. And this is called what? Vestibular membrane. And this is called what? Cochlear duct. And this is called what? Scala vestibuli. And this is filled with what? Perilymph. Endolymph. Perilymph. Okay. You also have a couple other things that you can see here. Your organ of Corti would be this region right in here. And you see this very light structure right in here. It's kind of jelly-like. It's going to hold the stereocilia, the hair cells, and it's called the what? That's the T. Pectoral membrane. Okay. And that one's kind of a hard one to pick out, but if I were you, I'd pull a couple of these up on your microscope and kind of work your way through these different locations. And on any of these, if I go to the next set, okay, you can see that this is one, right? Okay. I could ask you about this one. Okay. And look what's leading away from this one. Do you see that structure right there? That's the spiral ganglia. What else do you know about that? Endolymph, perilymph, spiral ganglia, membrane, spiral organ of Corti, basal membrane. So the spiral organ of Corti would be this region right here. Okay, remember the cells sit on the basilar membrane and they are embedded in that pectoral plate, or the pectoral membrane. So this region right here. If I pull that up a little bit higher, let me see. I'll just do this one on this side, see if this helps. You have to remember that you're always going to get kind of different views from this, okay? Depending on what side of the cochlea you're looking at, and depending on whether we're upside down or right side up. So you have to be able to orient yourself within the slide, okay? So on this one, let's do it. The first thing I always pick out is this. Basilar membrane, which makes this the vestibular membrane, which makes this the scala vestibuli, which is filled with perilymph, which makes this the cochlear duct, which is filled with endolymph, which makes this the skeleton tendon, which is filled with
Parallel.
pheromone. This right in here, can you see that?
Tutorial membrane.
The tectorial membrane. Okay, so this is your organ of Corti, right in here, between the tectorial membrane and the basilar membrane. This is where you would find those hair cells, in this region, right here. No, I'm sorry, right in here.
So it's between the tectorial membrane.
They sit up in the tectorial membrane, and they're going to be based on that basilar membrane. And they're going to send their signals out through this right here, which is the spiral ganglion. And all the spiral ganglia will come together. Let me see if I can get a good picture of all of them coming together. So you'll have a spiral ganglion here, a spiral ganglion here, a spiral ganglion here. And what will they leave as?
Cochlear.
The cochlear nerve. Okay, from each of these rings of the cochlea.